Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist BBQ. I'm Jeremy Yoder. I'm joined by Fast Eddy from Cook Shack. You guys know that I do a lot of cooking on offset smokers, but not a ton on pellet cookers. And so Fast Eddy is a pellet cooker expert, and he's won tons of barbecue competitions in ribs and brisket and anything you can imagine. And he's going to take us through the process, step by step, of how to make award-winning barbecue on your pellet cooker. Today, we're doing brisket. So let me give you some basic facts before we get started. We're going to be using a Creekstone brisket. I'm going to grab one of those out of the fridge in just a second. We're going to be using this brisket rub made by Cook Shack, and we're using Fast Eddy's new pellet cooker and his pellets. So I'm going to go grab that brisket. He's going to show us how to trim it up, how to get it ready to go on the smoker, and then he's going to walk us through the process.
I want to talk about the pellets we're going to be using today first.
I don't have a ton of experience with pellet cookers, but one thing that I know is definitely true. The pellets you use matters, like for sure. There are big differences. Some are very low quality, some are high quality. So when you make that decision, don't just go by whatever's the cheapest or whatever's the closest to you. If you are going to invest a lot of time in cooking what you want to be really great food, the pellets do make a big difference.
These, I've been wanting to do a brand of pellets of my own. I was always involved with Cook Shack on pellets, but I come across a fella that was one of the smartest men I know as far as the wood goes, and he's a logger and has a pellet mill. I went and tried some of his pellets, and I was just floored. He presses a pellet probably greener than anybody else does. A lot of people get a pellet, a dried sawdust that is kiln dried, and they dry it all down. Then they go and move it over to a pellet mill, and they have to inject a lot of water into it to put the pellet and activate the lignins in the wood. Where this company actually wants the greenest sawdust they can get. And then the drying process is built in with the mill system itself. And the moisture content that's left into the wood is like the natural moisture that is in the wood. It's not trying to add water to activate the lignins. I'm gonna use an analogy from one of the guys that sells firewood in Texas. He called it phenoketones. I feel like there's, whatever that means, there's more phenoketones left in our wood compared, because this is a post oak and red oak mix.
Well, cooking with you for the last couple days, I can tell you that when these burn, they smell different than generic fill-in-the-blank pellets.
Yeah, they don't smell like I call it a cabinet shop.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have that cabinet shop, all that kiln dried wood around. Okay, this is definitely different.
And then you have a system in this cooker that these pellets aren't going to be the only thing that we're using for flavor.
I have a flavor enhancer in here that's sits right above the fire pot. We can actually take handfuls of pellets and put in it. We can put sticks in it. We can put chunks in it. You can put chips in it. So it's an added feature to smolder this product with a little bit of airflow coming from the fire pot itself too.
Gotcha.
But we're right on down on top of that fire pot. And you can keep hand feeding it if you want, just by opening it up. Because this cooker has its own separate char boiler, our fire is indirect, just like an indirect cooker. So you can operate it like an indirect cooker.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is going to provide heat, it's going to provide flavor, and then with this cooker, it's like as much smoke as you want, you can make.
When I first started playing around with it, I was really concerned it was going to overdo it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. It does produce a lot of smoke, but I'm excited to see how this turns out. So I'm going to go grab a brisket, and I'll let you do what you do best.
Awesome.
Let me tell you guys a little bit of a story. I have a friend who told me that he's Mr. Cast Iron. He loves cast iron, cooks everything on cast iron. And I said, you know what? I'm a big fan of carbon steel. Why don't you borrow one of my carbon steel pans, try it out for a while, and then you let me know what you think and you can bring it back. And that was months ago. It has not returned, and I know for a fact that he's using it. So even the king of cast iron was convinced to buy carbon steel. Carbon steel has all those great heating characteristics of cast iron, but it's a lot lighter, it's got way better handles, and it's just a superior cooking product in my opinion. Carbon steel is somewhat of a hybrid between stainless steel and cast iron, so you have the weight characteristics that you like about a stainless steel pan, and then the cooking characteristics that you like about cast iron, and you get carbon steel. So this pan right here is a carbon steel pan that has cooked more steaks than any other cooking implement that I own. I love these things. They start to build a naturally non-stick coating on the outside, and these are made by Maiden, today's video sponsor. I've been using Maiden products for a while. I love them, from the non-stick to the stainless steel. I've had great results with all of them. When Maiden first reached out to me about doing a sponsorship, I initially looked at the product and said, nah, I don't think so. But then they said, can we send you some of our cookware and then you decide? I said, you know what, sure. I got it, I cooked on it, and then was immediately convinced this is far superior to what I have absolutely I'll do the sponsorship. I love this product. Please send me some more product. Maiden cookware has over 100,000 5-star reviews. There's a good reason why. Also, it's used in 3 Michelin star kitchens. It is professional quality for the home cook. In front of me right now, I have 3 of Maiden's products. I have the carbon steel griddle, the carbon steel frying pan, and I just got, and I'm really excited about, this carbon steel grill pan. It's got holes so the food that you're cooking can get touched by flames. So if you guys are like me and have tried to grill off asparagus and you inevitably have asparagus fall through the grates, never fear, you can still grill asparagus and get that great flavor from your charcoal when using this pan. Guys, I do everything I can to help you cook better food with your smoker, but my best advice for cooking better food inside is get yourself some Maiden cookware. You'll start producing better food because you have better equipment. If that's interesting to you and you want to start cooking better food indoors, check out the Maiden carbon steel line by clicking on the link in my description and start saving today. I know you guys are gonna love it. Check it out, click on that link and save today.
We are gonna cook a 39-day-old brisket. This is probably 16 plus. I am going to cut it and trim it like I pretty much would for a competition style back in the day when I used to cook KCBS. So I am actually going to separate the decal or the point from the flat. And we're going to cook these as 2 separate muscles is what we're going to do. We're after maximum flavor all the way around the brisket. Now I am not going to size it too much for the box like I would if for a competition cut. A competition cut, I would take this down to about a 9-inch wide flat across the grain, but we're not going to mess with that too much. It did thin out as you see down here on this side. I'm going to square that up here where Jeremy would normally like round it off on a Texas cut. So this here is not going to cook real well. On the flat. We need to get this baby squared up and we need to get that decal off of it. So now I'm going to start hacking away.
With the Cook Shack pellet cooker, we have a little bit more time where we don't have to be actively involved.
No, it's going to do its thing.
It's going to make our lives
That's true.
much easier.
You're not cooking on an offset today.
I know, so it's like, oh, I'll set the temperature and I'll walk away. It's going to be amazing. I'll go take a nap, you know? Eddie didn't go to medical school, but he's surgical over here.
No.
I'm assuming he didn't go to medical school. He's lived like 6 lives though. Are you an EMT?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You had to
What?
Well, I think
Oh,
you have to
firefighter,
be,
yeah.
be.
right?
You had to be. As you can see, the grain's running this direction here on this flat of the brisket. So I'm going to go out here and see how that comes to a point. I am going to cut this point at a 90-degree angle against that grain area, like so. I'm going to notch this. And when this gets all done and turns all black and everything, this will tell me exactly how to cut this brisket 90 degrees against the grain.
Eddie, if you see the thumbnail, I look flabbergasted.
You did not know it was coming.
I had no idea.
You ruined my brisket. We had a guy, he cooked under the name Jumpin' Jim out of Des Moines, Iowa. He was character and a half. And when I knew Jim was coming to a contest, I didn't worry about buying my brisket run because Jim bought Head Country by the 50-pound box.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He was prepared.
And it got to be a running joke
Yeah?
that brisket was the last thing I got ready and seasoned up. So I'd make a cocktail and then I'd go down to Jim's with an extra red cup, empty red cup, and say, Jim, you got some of that rub I can borrow? And I do it at every contest.
Yeah?
Okay. So he thought I was just actually screwing with him.
Yeah.
No, I was using it. So he'd come up and he'd make an excuse to get into my motor. Hey, I need to use the bathroom, or I need to do this, or whatever, you know. And he'd get into the motor home. He'd be searching around, looking for stuff that I was using.
Right.
That's why I said all kinds of other shit out. But finally one day,
Next level.
a contest he went to, he probably seen the same jar, looked like about the same amount in it, and he picked it up, and it was like a rock. He go, you son of a I thought you were mixing that butt rub with something, you know. Okay, we've had about 30 minutes. We've been letting salt and sugars melt into that meat and make its own moisture content coming out of the meat. And also that helped rehydrate those spices, those dehydrated spices that are in this fine rub. And now we're gonna put them on the cooker. This cooker actually cooks top down. And so I'm gonna put it fat side up to begin with. And then partially through the cooking process, we are gonna turn this over. Then I'm gonna load the top rack with all that fine fat that we had in there. And then we're gonna be self-basting, just like we would on a rotisserie smoker. But this fat's gonna drip on and it's gonna make a nice sheen cover and pick up even more flavor. So as that fat liquefies, drips on top of the meat, we're gonna help build that really fine layer of bark that we're after. Now, if you see how I'm kind of offsetting this, because this will come and drip off of that brisket, whatever I'm having dripping off, I want it to come down here on this point right now. When we go to put our fat on, we'll have this other rack here, and that's where the fat will go on. So right now I'm going to stick a probe in here so we can monitor right in the center of this flat what our temperature is. Our flavor enhancer is we're using pellets in it. So we're going to monitor this on our CookShack app temperature-wise, but we're physically going to come back and take a look at it here in a couple hours.
Exactly. This is a lot more convenient than what I usually do.
I'm going to miss watching you playing with your fire.
I like playing with fire, which is a good thing considering how I usually cook. But there's something to be said for the convenience, for sure. I mean, you set the temperature, you're like monitoring it. It's like, oh yeah, everything's great. And then, yeah. Do you get the probe temperature in there too, like in the app? Okay, so you know what temperature the brisket is and the cooker.
Well, we just had the lid open, so you're going to see the temp jump on the oven temp, but there's the probe temp, 63 degrees on probe temp, and the cooker will jump up here. I got it set at 225.
Can you adjust the temperature from the app?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So now we're going to go get some lunch, which is something I never get to do when I'm cooking on an offset. I'm going to be a little bit worried, but I trust the technology. It's hard for me, as somebody who's born Amish, to trust technology, but I'll do my best.
Okay, we're back from lunch, and we're in our stall. We're sitting here right about 158 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it fat side down, and all that fat we saved, I'm getting ready to start baste the top of it while we're going through the stall point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this point and put it back here on the bottom. Flip-a-rooney. Got some great color going on. Now we got some of this of our fat. And we're gonna let it ride. Also, we're gonna turn the temperature up 250 degrees. This is awful difficult. There we go.
You hurt yourself?
I'm killing him. It's killing him.
Very convenient. Looks good, doesn't it? Okay.
Okay, this is the point end of the brisket, and that's what we're going to be making our burn ends out of. This is about 170 degrees when I temp it. It's been on about 9.5 hours. We got plenty of good bark on it. Put that back in there. I like to wrap with the fat side down. So this is the fat side here. And I'm gonna leave it because I want the fat side to set in all the juices. I don't want to end up washing all this nice bark off, is why I do that. I'm gonna have to turn it this way. it'll definitely pick up speed now and it'll push through the stall here shortly. I'm gonna say 2 or 3 hours we should be good. And then I'm looking to get that right around 200 degrees in that flat. And the points, we're probably looking at 205 to 208. We're gonna do a little bit of probing on those to see how it is, but we're also gonna do a long-term hold with it. That'll end up doing a finish for us too.
Okay, we pulled the brisket off at about 200 degrees and we put it in this warming oven overnight. And so it's the next day and we get to taste test it, and we have some sauce to go with it. So we're going to taste it by itself and with sauce. One thing I always say about sauce is that great barbecue doesn't need sauce, but also I love sauce. And what's the analogy you use?
I use this like icing on a cake. I love cake without icing, but if it's good icing and good cake, it will go together.
Definitely. So let me get the brisket and then we'll get to slicing. Which one do you want first? Flat or point?
Flat.
I have been given the task of slicing this, so I hope I don't mess it up. So we have, World Championship quality brisket here, and I don't want to be responsible for screwing it up. But I'll tell you this, right now it smells incredible. Like you feel that this is soft right here. I think it's going to be really tasty stuff. So I'm going to get to slicing. I'm going to cut this into chunks because I like to eat it that way. Little nuggets of goodness. And then how many of these should we slice off?
Well, I would go, wait a second. Time out.
Now I already got fired.
Over here is where the point was over the flat. So there's going to be a little bit more fat content.
Sure.
Okay. So I would like to get a couple of slices right through here.
Okay. We're going to skip some and go here. So I'll do one more. It smells really good. Good work, Eddie. What would you taste in evaluating this? What part? I'm going to slice and lean.
First, I would do a pull test. I probably would have been just a little thinner. It's a little tight. Just a little tight. Do a thinner cut.
It tastes really good though. We're not lacking smoke flavor.
No.
I want to eat this piece. This end, it's got all the stuff, like all the bark on the outside. That's really good. Oh. So, even though it's the end cut, you'll still see it's juicy. Lean but flavorful. My thoughts on the flat were super flavorful, but all in balance. It wasn't too spicy.
I'm pretty sure there's some chili seasoning in it, yeah.
Super tasty stuff. Next, I want to try super flavorful plus extra marbling in the muscle with the burnt end. So this is the thing that is kind of like the crowning jewel of barbecue. You can't get bark with pellet cookers though.
No.
No bark with pellet cookers.
No, they won't smoke.
Right, so this is a completely different experience. We cut this thing into two muscles. I'm always cooking it together, cooking it the other way around, cooking it with a different kind of smoker, very simple seasoning. But this is really cool for me to be able to learn what you kind of perfected in competition and just trying to pack in maximum flavor into every bite. Also, for anybody who says that you can't get bark with a pellet cooker, I think this brisket begs to differ. So I'm excited. It smells super good. Eddie, show us your ways.
As you can see, the grains run in this direction.
Yeah.
Right here on this. What I would do first is I'm gonna square it up.
Yep.
And I'm gonna come in here and cut with the grain, okay? Because normally they're served in chunks.
Gotcha.
And I like to do about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, chunk is how I like to serve it. So, I don't like it any thicker than about 1 inch too. So if I had a big gnarly end on here, I'd end up splitting that in half.
Gotcha.
Okay, but I got bark on both sides of this now.
Yep.
So my service would be taking something like this, and then I'd be coming along and doing these. And then that would be a service of burnt ends.
Nice.
I would come here on the bigger, thicker end
Yep.
too. Cut that off. This one here didn't render as well. See now they're like, see how that is.
Be packed full of flavor, have rendered fat,
Right.
and be nice and tender.
Yes.
I'm gonna get this one. This one looks really tasty to me, so we should get this on camera. But the intramuscular marbling right here, you see the whole thing is kind of glistening. The fat on the top is rendered right here, and all right, I'm just gonna eat it. It's like the Rolls Royce of barbecue. Yeah,
Did we meet the standard?
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna dig
That
in.
bite did. It was just juicy. It's like when you get into barbecue, you want to be able to make bites like that. When I first got my first smoker, I wanted to be able to create that.
Awesome.
That was the goal.
By the time you put a little bit of that icing on it,
Yep.
it'll be over the top. It'll be right where it's supposed to be.
I'm losing it. Send in a rescue helicopter. All right, there we go. So Cook Shack mild. Oh, yes. It's a perfect compliment.
Yes.
Dude, that's so good.
That right there is money.
It is. Is this kind of the sauce you would use when you do competitions or something similar?
Very similar. I would actually use it like I did on the ribs a video we shot where I would have cooked it down, put a little more flavor in that sauce in the pit. You want people to be able to taste your barbecue and decide if they want to add a little bit to it or not.
It's not overpowering.
No, oh no.
It complements.
Yeah, it's a compliment. Mm-hmm.
That's so good. Here's the most amazing part about it. I'm still tasting smoke, even with all the seasoning, even with the sauce. Even though it's a pellet cooker, the extra flavor you get by burning pellets or wood chunks in that kind of flavorizer, you can dial up as much smoke or as little smoke as you want, and the smoke is right there. That's the thing I was most
Well,
most
and that
interested in.
flavor riser, I hit it 3 times. I put about 3 or 4 handfuls of pellets in that flavor riser 3 times throughout that cook. So as it just smolders. Amazing amount of smoke, and almost was a little bit concerned that 3 times might have been a little too much. But knowing you're a stick burner guy, I decided I'd go after it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that you did, because I like it. Do you want to eat some brisket? Oh, yes, please. And she's being polite because she wants to eat. Okay. Emma, what do you like better, brisket or steak?
Brisket.
Yeah, good girl. Here, you want to try it? Oh, take a big bite. Oh, there you go. What do you think?
Yum.
Yum? This is better than my brisket? Oh!
There's proof in the pudding.
Oh, cut right to the heart. Emma, what's your favorite meat?
Brisket.
See? Teaching her young, she already knows what's up. You want to try one with sauce?
No.
No.
Oh, I have been teaching her, guys.
Wow.
You like the sauce?
No.
Okay. So, I think we discovered a little bit of why Eddy has won so many barbecue contests. The flavors were prominent, they were balanced, nothing was out of proportion, and it just has a kind of a symphony of flavors that sing together. So, it was super cool to see how he approaches things. It's completely different than the way I do it. I'm like, crazy simple. I just want to figure out how to burn the fire the right way and things like that, where you're thinking of all the details about every spice that goes into it and exactly how you're going to cut this at the end, and you're going to square things up, and it's got to be the right shape and the right size. And it's cool. It's really fun for me to be put back in the seat of a learner. So thank you for doing that, Eddy. We ate, I think, almost all the burnt ends on the table, and then you sliced some of the point, and we ate some of that too, and it was great. And
Wasn't it crazy how it actually, just by the slicing, changed that product?
yeah, so flavorful, so good, and I couldn't stop eating it, and we'll probably eat some more of it here in a second. And as much as it pains me to see a brisket cut in half and treated in that way, it's still for the aim of making great barbecue. You know, I'm a fan of any cooking meat with fire, and especially when it's that delicious. So thank you for doing this, Eddy. Is there any place that they can follow you?
Cook Shack has a Facebook group page. Ed Marin on Instagram.
Okay, we'll include all those in the links below if you guys want to follow him. I also discovered that Eddy is a barbecue celebrity. He was on one of the first barbecue shows I ever watched. I think it was in 2005. It was the All-Star Barbecue Showdown.
Right.
I watched those episodes and had no idea that the guy who was sitting in my kitchen with me, we were eating dinner, was a guy I watched on TV, like, you know, over a decade ago. So that was really cool.
No gray hair.
Maybe that was the difference. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and How I Met Eddy on Patreon. at Mad Scientist BBQ. I'll see you guys next time.